So we're going to go over just two questions. You guys had a lot of great questions and a lot of weird ones, if I'm being honest. But we will, it's hard to choose with so many questions, and we want to maximize the benefit that we've gotten from the Sheikh. Jazakallah khair. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala increase him and decree for him another visit up here soon, inshallah. But the first one, Sheikh, is I'm a Reaver of 4 years and I struggle with learning the Quran and becoming a better Muslim. What are your suggestions?
So, brothers and sisters, here's the thing. One thing that people make a mistake in is that they want to practice the entire religion very quickly. You need to take it step by step. And I want you to look at all the different avenues of good deeds that you can do in Islam rather than focusing on one thing or the other. Some people think that by doing 1, 2, 3 things makes you ultimately religious. But Islam is also about character. It's also about looking after your parents. It's also about connecting your ties. It's also about charity. It's also about using your skills in some way that pleases Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So there are so many avenues that will help you increase your iman by fulfilling them. So sometimes some people, they go for the hardest thing, or they go for the thing that is difficult for them. Now, of course, the basic are the 5 pillars of Islam. A man came to the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. He was a Bedouin. And he said, Ya Rasulullah, tell me what I need to do to enter paradise. And he said to him, to bear witness to Shahada, that there is only one God worthy of worship, Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, his messenger. And obviously to believe in what he said. Number 2, to perform your 5 daily prayers. To fast your month of Ramadan. To pay your zakat. And to do Hajj once in your lifetime if you are able to do so. Then he said, stop Ya Rasulullah, stop. Wallahi, I will not do anything more than that. Wallahi lan azida ala dhalik. Not a thing. And he even turned around and walked away. Then Rasulullah ﷺ looked at his companions and said, أَفْلَحَ الْأَعْرَابِيُّ إِن صَدَقَ. The Bedouin will be triumphant and successful if he is truthful about what he said. So as you can see, the minimum is that. But if he is consistent with it and looks after it, he will enter paradise successfully. Now, other than that, take things step by step. And if it's prayer that you're struggling with, then what you got to do with salat is that you got to make a decision right now to say, I'm going to start doing my 5 daily prayers. Make a decision. This is where it all starts. If you're doing 3, increase them to 4. If you're doing 4, increase it to 5. If you're doing 1, increase it to 2. I have a friend who told me, I want to start praying Fajr and going to the mosque. So he's past that stage, right? So I said to him, you need 40 days. 40 days, pick yourself up and just go. Whether you feel good or bad, just go, right? Think of something. Make a calendar, mark it and say, this is how many days I've done. Call a friend and say, let's make a tally. Let's try and see who can be there on time. Make an incentive, so go to the mosque and then you're going to go have a coffee or something like that, or you're going to go have breakfast, and make it sort of something that you look forward to. After about 2 months or so, I went back to Sydney because I'm from Melbourne. So I went to Sydney and I see him and he comes with a smiley face, wallahi, because prayer does change him. Because he did it by himself. And he says to me, wallahi, I haven't missed the prayer at all in the masjid anymore. 40 days does work. Now, I only told him 40 days because it's just a number I plucked out. But just having a goal that you can reach, mashallah ta'ala. So brothers and sisters, this is what all I can say to you, whether you're a revert, convert, embraced Islam, even we struggle, and iman goes up and down, up and down, up and down. So don't be worried, inshallah. I do advise you, just very quickly, Sheikh, some things that do help you, just little subtle things. I do them too. Every morning that you wake up matters a lot. You know, sometimes you wake up a bit depressed mood, sometimes whatever. So instead of going on your social media and talking with anyone and using that, social media can be very toxic, just listen to some Quran for 15 minutes. Look for the voices that you love to hear. When you first wake up, say, Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah wa anna Muhammadan Rasulullah. Learn what that word means. And say, Oh Allah, I am grateful to you for giving me life after death, and to you I shall return. And then play the Quran while you go, you brush your teeth, you do it, get yourself ready. Play the Quran for 15 minutes. Let it go into your ear with a beautiful voice. This will set the pace for the rest of your day, and it heightens the iman. Look, it's not, like I can't give you a rational thing that you can understand right now. You've got to do it, because doing those actions from your own choice cleans your heart by itself. You just see the results. It's like changing your diet. Suddenly the sugar that you used to take, you no longer crave it that much. only because you change your routine. You guys know about diet and everything. So the more you change your diet of your body, the more your body adjusts to it. Same with your heart, the more you change your dhikr words. And my last advice is this: download an app called Fortress of the Muslim. Write it down. Fortress of the Muslim, if you haven't got it. Every Muslim should have it. Husnul Muslim in Arabic. Fortress of the Muslim. It's got a collection of all the du'as and dhikrs and words that you have to say in the mornings, the evenings, and at night. And you need to say them. They will change your life. Wallahi, they will change your life. Because it's repetition, and what happens, you know, neuroplasticity. Have you ever heard of neuroplasticity, Sheikh? Neuroplasticity, Hamza, have you heard of neuroplasticity? It's a very good study, well done, well done. So read about it a little bit more, and that's basically, it shows you how your neurons in your brain change and they start growing synapses, or how you call it in American, synapses, I don't know what you say. But they grow and they create new channels. And you're able, you develop new behaviors. So in Islam it's called dhikr, and dhikr changes you. So download that, make it your objective inshallah, and take it step by step. Wallah, inshallah, you will improve.
Jazakallah khair, Sheikh. Two very quick ones, but how did you say synapses again? Synapses, alright. If you say so. How do you not question Allah's qadr, especially when you're struggling? How do you not question the decree of Allah, especially when you're struggling and feel like there's no way out?
My brother and sister, listen. I gave this talk actually before. This was one of the topics about qada and qadr. What I want you to do is learn more about qadr. A lot of people have a misconception about it. So this is what I do. Questioning qadr. Do you know everything? No, you don't. Do you, no matter what questions you ask, do you know the past, present and future to get closure from it? No, you don't. What I do, and look, this happened to me. Obviously, we bring it up again. I said this will be the last time, inshallah, in this journey. When my tragedy happens, and if you can relate to that, I also got thoughts. It's natural for whispers to come to your head. And one of the thoughts I had was guilt. And I thought, could I have done anything about it? Someone said to me, did you ever ask why me? I said, no, I asked why not me? I should be there instead of my son. Because a child doesn't normally leave the world before their own parents. So it created a big, storm in my head. So I kept on reading the Quran and connecting with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and learning more and more about qadr. Until I started to think better. And I thought, if I can turn back time, and I knew this was going to happen, would I allow it to happen? I said, no, I will give my life so it doesn't happen. And that removed the guilt from me, because I had no control over it. Brothers and sisters, understand what qadr is. Qadr is to relieve you. Allah will never do something unless it is good for you. And I want you to think, I'll repeat it, and I said it in my lecture. Train your brain to think about 4 and only 4 possibilities about qadr which Allah taught us. Number 1, that Allah has to have a plan out of this. There is a plan that you need to wait it out. You read the story of Yusuf alayhi salam, you can see qadr in play. It took him about 40 years with the plan. In the end, he was the treasurer of Egypt. And his parents came back. Number 2, good is going to come out of this suffering. Allah will not let you suffer unless there is something good that's destined to come out of it. Number 3, think this could be a test for my hereafter. Allah brings sometimes certain sufferings to you for a short time. Allah promises you in the Quran, وَلَنَبْلُوَنَّكُمْ بِشَيْءٍ, we shall test you. You cannot run away from it. We will test you with a little bit of fear, loss of wealth, loss of lives and all that, and give good news to those who are patient, the ones who, when the calamity befalls them, they say, to Allah we belong and to Him we shall return. Every verse of the Quran, every statement of the Prophet ﷺ that talks about qadr, it is always, always, without a fail, positive and good. It is never bad. Number 4, the qadr has happened based on what Allah knew about your future, of your choices that you're going to make. Imagine you had a time machine and you went into the future and you wrote everything that's going to happen, you came back 100 years later back, and you told people this and that is going to happen, is that your fault or you just observed? You observed. So when Allah writes that something's going to happen to you, He has observed you in the future and seen that you're going to make certain choices regardless of the guidance that was given to you. And sometimes you're going to make choices that you made a mistake in from the wrong advice. Or perhaps you made a choice that you weren't very well prepared for. Or it was just like that. What you learn from choices is lessons. You're going to get better at it the second time. Think about a baby. If you've ever seen a baby learn how to walk, the baby does not learn how to stand up. It does. But before it learns how to stand up, what does it learn? Now? How to crawl. But true, it slowly works step by step. But when it starts to stand up after crawling, what does it do? It falls a lot. Do you know why the baby falls a lot? To learn how to not to fall next time. By learning how to fall. Sorry, to learn how not to fall by falling. Otherwise it will not learn. And that's why Allah put cushions. It doesn't have a cartilage, it's in its knees. That's why its bone is flexible bones. That's why the baby can flex a lot. Because Allah is preparing it. It's all a plan. It's all meant to be like that. But only for good. That's why you're walking. That's why you're walking, brothers and sisters. The only whispers that are coming is from the shaitan. Only the shaitan tells you bad things. Don't even think that Allah is punishing me. That's up to Allah to know. I'm going to tell you how to think about that. You will never know if Allah is punishing you for a sin. But I can tell you one thing. If it is a punishment, then it's up to you in how you're going to react to it. In whatever case, it's always the same reaction. You either become rebellious, or you accept it and are patient with it. Like this. You say, oh Allah, if it is a punishment for me, I repent to you. And if you can work out what you've done, fix it. If you can't, make istighfar 100 times. Number 2, if it is a test and you react with it with rebellion, then it becomes a punishment. You turn it into a punishment. The only one who turns it into punishment is you. So brothers and sisters, think about these 4 things always. Allah has a plan. Good is going to come out of the suffering. Test is for my hereafter. A choice that I've made in order to learn from it. For example, last example. I learned from the Quran a good story in Surah Al-Kahf. Classical story. Every single one of you needs to learn this story. It will solve 90% of your whispers. The story of Moses and Al-Khadr. It's a long story in the Kahf, and it talks about 3 instances which Moses himself could not bear patience with. In the first instance, Al-Khadr, he said to him, you will not be patient with what is going to happen. And then a few things happen, and one of them is that he killed a boy for no reason. And Musa lost the plot. I should say lost the plot. He couldn't handle it. He says, you killed a child before he was innocent and so on. And in the end, Al-Khadr gives him the answers to all those things. And when Moses knew the answers, he thought, oh, it's because I hadn't seen the unseen. One example is that boy. He said he was going to grow up to cause tyranny to his parents, had he lived on. And he would end up in paradise, in brackets, and his parents in tyranny. So Allah wanted to replace him with a better child for the parents. He will grow up to be righteous. Because Allah does not make you become righteous. You have to choose it. And so the child, and the new child, and the parents all ended up in paradise. Had he lived on, it would be tyranny to the point where the parents would have wished he died. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala never does something unless it's good. Now, if I'm going to think about it in a bad way, then I have created that problem. Pray 2 rak'ahs and say to Allah, my Lord, I release this problem from my shoulders and I give it to you. Oh Allah, I give it to you. I've got a post on this, online. I give you my problem, Ya Allah, I can't handle this. And whatever you do with it, you do, and I will accept it. If you can pass this, I swear by Allah that you will become a stronger person in your faith, in your mind, and in your body. Jazakumullahu khair. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make things easy for you. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala relieve you from all your hardships and pain. Ameen. Is that it, Habibi Sheikh?
Just before we ask the last question, we just ask of everybody that we have to leave the place cleaner than we found it. So please, anything around your seats, anything on the outside, even if you did not throw it, please take it on your way out. Make sure that this place is cleaner than when we arrived. The final question that I feel compelled to ask because I had the most amount of votes. Will I see my cat in Jannah?
I bet you it's a question from a sister. All right, okay. I had 9 cats, 9. They kept giving birth. They just keep going, committing zina, bring me back all this. So I said, be gone. I gave them to people who look after them. You know what, brothers and sisters? Will I see my cat in paradise? Animals don't go to Jannah. Because they're not created for that. And they accept their fate. There's 4 animals in this world that will go to Jannah. They are the she camel of Prophet Salih alayhi salam and its baby. It's a miracle camel. The hudhud, the woodpecker of Sulaiman alayhi salam. The dog that followed the young people to the cave in Surah Al-Kahf. And, subhanAllah, I forgot the 4th one. It is the sheep, the ram which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala brought down from heaven to be slaughtered by Ibrahim alayhi salam when he was tested with the slaughter of his son. These 4 animals will go to paradise. As for everything else, let me tell you something, brothers and sisters. Here's the thing. First of all, let's get to paradise. That's number 1. Like really serious, let's just get there first. And I promise you, your entire mentality will change when you see paradise. And everything will be accepted. Allah will not let you enter paradise until you are completely satisfied. And you will not think the way you're thinking here. So, Allah yarham your cat. And may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bless you. Jazakumullah khair. Assalamu alaikum. Thank you for having me.